So in this video, we're just going to take a quick tour of the controls over at Quasar. Again, Quasar is we'll call it a UI library. Honestly, it's usually, on the website, we'll call it a cascading style sheet framework that you then, can plug into something like Vue, which does the reactivity part. So this does the UI responsive part, and something like Vue will do the, interactive reactivity part of updating the DOM of all the latest changes. Now, some of the names are actually similar to the ones we talked about in Beautify in that, but then you'll every once in a while you're gonna have like different names. So some of these custom components, or what some people might call controls, right, are extensions of existing HTML elements. But then what are you going to call it, right? And that. But so there are some common names that people use in that. So we'll start off alphabetically. So under view components, in that you have different like layout grids. These become important, especially in a responsive design of how you want to lay out your controls. So it's not that it's a matter of time, but we just want to look at controls because this is how I typically see things happen. Is that you see a really good component library and you go, yeah, we really want to use that for our app. So it's based on the look and feel in that, and if it works for you, or they could have some killer features in here that other UI libraries don't have, right? But you do have to like budget some time to play around with them. You may have like a stock app. You see this even in YouTube videos, like someone will do a to-do list app, but they'll do it in different frameworks. So it's the same app done in different frameworks. Then you can reflect on yourself. Wow, was that hard or easy to do, and what were the differences? So you take like a very simple app with not too much functionality, and then try to build it in all these different frameworks to say, okay, which one did you like, kind of concept. And it is like that. So we'll start with the Ajax bar, and that is funny because they use Ajax. I mean, what you see me do in the previous videos, previous lectures, is I do a fetch, like a promise, or with an await sync, and that. But basically, this person's right. That's all asynchronous JavaScript XHTML requests in the background. So they must have. You can almost tell when they got into the JavaScript business and that. And so if we look at that, you can see the little progress bar happening. So what it means is you've made a call back to the server, and you have this progress bar happening on, and then it kind of indicates to the user, hey, the data's back once it gets to the end. And that. Avatar we've seen before, and that was a very similar name, right? But they do it very differently. It's just some small image, and they get lots of different sizing options. And that their badge was a little different, I think, too, in that. But the concept of a badge. Now, is there an HTML element called angle bracket badge angle bracket? No, I mean it's an image. It's some custom extension of the image thing with a bunch of other stuff. If you look, if the badge comes with a little graphic and a title and stuff like that. I think maybe we've bumped up to a div that has all like some text and maybe an image link in it and that. So they're taking cobbling together a bunch of standard HTML elements into one kind of object in that. Their bars are a little bit different. We're looking for this would be the system bar over in Beautify in that. So then you always want to probably check out their buttons. What do their buttons look like? Right, look and feel in that, and that's pretty standard. These gradient fills, don't see those too much, but it depends where you are at. I'm used to Android, so it's all this flat looking stuff from material design in that. Different carousels, they even have a chat thing built in that. If that was going to be part of your app, there's a whole bunch of stuff like having this little tick on the end here to point to the person who's talking. You go, well, it's already pre-built. Why do I want to build it myself? In that, usually when you get down to these form stuff, what we're talking about is like reskinning existing HTML form controls. In that, but is there something called icon? Absolutely not. Not in stock HTML. And that doesn't mean there won't be soon, but in that. What I'm trying to get to, toolbars is probably something to look at in here. There it is there. And that. So we'll take a look. This is where you have your menu. Notice the halo as you come in that. Piece of text side by side. overflow menu. So when you look at this, this is a standard look and feel of material design, where your app has a like there's a little header part of your app or a footer and a footer and that sort of thing. And your standard menu that will have a slide out drawer in that. Trying to find out what it's called in here. Who knows? You have to dig around in that. But so the thing is this what you're looking for, right? And someone will be like, yeah, that's exactly what I want for my app, and that. And so they have a whole bunch of different options, and that some of them are very webbish. Some of them could look okay on a mobile phone, and it all depends what you're doing. And so their thing is that they do both. Like Viewtify might really focus on the mobile side, and they're like, well, we want to have both desktop and mobile. So when you do have bigger, more screen real estate, you'll be fine in that. File uploader, I mean, this is just a stock. The file upload is a stock control on a form, but usually you want to give more information about progress, possibly in that. And if sometimes these take a second to load. It's already getting jittery in that. But they have like a little header with where they already got built in the progress of how much you've got done, or what percent is uploaded. So it all depends if you want those features in your app and that. And so what do you want to do? They have different tabs. The steppers is kind of interesting. So in Android, it's called onboarding. Lots of times when you first get an app, there's like a little tutorial thing. You could use this for a stepper or tutorial or a wizard kind of concept where people need to go through and make a bunch of steps. And that the top part's more about configuration, the examples. So they have some steps here that go across horizontally. Is that how you want to do it? Or do you want to do it vertically, which might be better for a phone? And that if you're squeezed on real estate, because most people use their phone in portrait mode, and maybe they flip it to landscape if they're watching a video or something like that. So spinners are interesting. Spinners, like in the Java world, is a drop-down list. Even in Android, there's the spinners, more of a drop-down list where you show one item at a time, and as you swipe, new items roll in like a Rolodex or something. These spinners are different. These are like, hey, I'm busy spinners and stuff like that. So you just got to get used to the names and what they call stuff. But it might be like, okay, I don't want to write this part, right? I just want to use stock stuff out of this library and that. So it all depends. There could be some wicked feature, like we got to have this pie chart looking thing. We got to have it, right? Or we got to have the little Wi-Fi stuff. So, or cogs, right? Oh no, we need cogs. It's like matches our company logo. We got to have that as our spinner. So we have to use this library. So that may sound crazy, but I've seen those decisions made and that kind of thing. So it really depends, But the real thing, how do you make a decision? I would say, let's back up. You need to, carve out some time in your schedule, have a really simple app, not too complicated, like a one-page simple thing. Build it in Quasar, build it in Viewtify, or build it in the umpteen other UI libraries. Or maybe you want to go React, and it'll have the same sort of bunch of different choices that you can do, just to get a feel for how easy is it to do in here. There might be some, hey, this looks really good, but it is horrible to code in that. Or it might be great, right? That sort of thing. You just got to jump in and compare them. Now, Quasar does have a really good, some really good YouTube videos on how fast you can build an app in their product for the desktop and then deploy it on a phone and how it looks and that. So you can find those out there. So if you are interested, okay, no, this, maybe in a future project or practicum, or project at work. And so you might want to start saying, okay, look, there's a lot of pre-built stuff, and we can have a good-looking functional app, right? A functional app that's good-looking if we adopt one of these frameworks in that. And this is like, if you're in the Angular's a bit of a beast. It looks like Lit, which is also from Google, might start to replace it in that. So Lit is kind of new, so the reactivity backend is there, but people building UI libraries probably will come. But if you want stuff out of the box, Vue is a good place to start. React is a good place to start. React Strap is like the UI's bootstrap. So there's lots of options out there, but it's about picking one of the frameworks building a simple app in it, and then building the exact same app in another framework, just so that you can compare and say, okay, this part is always going to be trade-off. This part's easier, this part's harder, and that. And then for you, it's like, okay, where do I gain from using one particular library over the other? So we'll stop that there. I just want to show you that there's just lots of these components. And again, there is this split between front end, back end, style and responsive and UI components pre-built, ready to go. And then this interactivity, reactivity framework in the background that figures out how to update the DOM because a user clicked over here, which means change the data in the chart and stuff. And those frameworks take care of that part. So that's all for now.